So hi everyone, welcome. I'm Tom, one of the co-founders at London Filmed, and today on our Tech Bytes session, I'm joined by two members of the Sparkleverse team. Today's session is going to be shorter than usual. It's going to be about 15 minutes. There's 5 questions in there, and it really is a short Tech Byte for the events industry. So I'm thankful today both members were able to join me because they're incredibly busy. I've got Thomas and I've got Sophie. So perhaps Thomas, if you want to lead with the introductions today.
Gladly, yeah. So my name is Thomas Oduffy. I'm Director of Strategy and Marketing at Sparkle. My background is I'm a technologist. I've been obsessed with computers pretty much all my life. And I'm also deeply fascinated by consciousness. So I've been studying hypnosis for over 25 years. And I'm generally curious about everything. So I came to Sparkle by, I guess, a series of serendipities that led to me co-creating online parties for the community during lockdown. And all kinds of interesting things occurred with other great minds, leading to me being here right now. And one of those great minds is Sophie.
Hey, I'm Sophie Lee Henson. I am the creative director of Sparkle, and yeah, also came to this wonderful space via the online party medium. I've got a background in immersive theatre design and kind of like an jack of all trades kind of type. And yeah, kind of found my people, and then we formed a business around it. And for me, that's just an extraordinarily special thing to have stumbled across. Yeah, by what feels like total serendipity.
And I mean, we all know one another from the project. We worked together on PA Consulting, so the Raspberry Pi Awards, which was felt epic, but not as epic as what I know you guys have been working on. I'm really interested to hear a bit more about that. But I think you've both kind of undersold yourselves a little bit in terms of, you know, how fantastic the platform is, what you guys have been doing, and just the whole different medium that you bring into the events industry, especially over the last sort of 12 to 16 months. So we'll dig into that a little bit more. But of course, 5 questions, and we'll get straight into it. The first question for the Sparkle team is, should I say, tell us a little bit about the platform. What does it do and who's it for?
So Sparkle is a online events platform which helps to contextualize space and time and help guide whoever's coming into it in a 2D lo-fi but very immersive and connectively synergizing way. Thomas?
Yeah, we're an open source social spaces platform based on philosophical design. So one of our founders, a guy called Ed Cook, has a background in philosophy and psychology and has been writing a book called A General Theory of Parties for over 20 years. And so he condensed a lot of his nuanced insight into a different kind of social spaces platform. We have easy to use templates that people can insert content or link to content from, with. And we focus on the emotional component and how to give people a shared context in a rich and meaningful way. So one of our phrases is microdosing people on moments of magic. If you can lead someone through successive short experiences that they react to in a positive way, those reactions build up, and bit by bit, they feel better and better. And then they're all in a state and a place where they feel good and they interact with one another and all kinds of fun happens. So we like to emotionally optimize for context, whereby people can come out of their shells and really open up with one another. And when it works, it's magic. People completely forget they're behind their screen. So we hosted one of the universes for Online Burning Man. We've hosted parties for some of the world's biggest computer game companies, for some of the world's biggest tech companies, for some of the world's biggest e-commerce companies. We've had incredible feedback, and people have told us that we're very different to the other platforms.
And I think that couldn't be more true in terms of how different you are as a platform versus the other. It's really a bit of an open book. And I think until you experience firsthand, it's really hard to do it justice. But I know from the feedback we've had from our clients and the attendees, they were truly blown away by it. And so are we as a team, which is why I'm so happy to have you both here today. So it's good to get a bit of an insight into the platform, kind of what it does and who it's for. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit more about who it is for, because it really is truly, I think, optimized for all. But it'd be good maybe to, you've touched on a few of the clients, but give us a bit more of an insight into that.
Yeah, gladly. So one of our theories are that, parties are one of the highest forms of like shared human existence. People make friends at parties, people meet, lovers and, sometimes their future partners at parties. People often organize time around parties. So we've tried to crack the code on what makes parties special and take that, I guess, that formula and apply it to other kinds of events. So we've hosted a lot of online parties, which have been celebrations, but also conferences, 3 or 4 day community events, community gatherings, dating nights, and a whole kind of random assortment of things that people have come to us and asked us about, like influencer events in the language learning industry. And we consistently get feedback that it feels different to other events, but maybe Sophie would like to share some of our cooler, quirkier examples.
Well, I was going to mention that we kind of designed the platform in mind so that your elderly tech-phobic aunt can go onto it and have a really, really good time. And yeah, it's where it's been and where it's going to is it's just a huge open book, and we're really keen to kind of stay true to our partying origins and to keep the fun flowing through everything that we do. And that also helps us to bring in different energy levels. So when people go to a party, they're kind of, well, any event, you're coming from somewhere else. So when you transition into this kind of, okay, we're supposed to be having fun now. Some people might be like, yeah, I'm doing shots, I'm going crazy. Other people might be like, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. And Sparkles tries to create environments where we kind of bring in all of these different energy levels and make them work together, offering agency and the ability for people to just be wherever is comfortable for them. So that's, I'd say, one of my favorite thing of,
And I think it's true that energy in terms of, when we worked with you guys, which I think ended up spanning to be almost a 6-month period. I think it was that long, but the energy levels throughout, working on the project, there was just excitement oozing from everything we did with you guys. And I think everyone, it was really uplifting at times, and it was just really positive experience working with you from start to end on that. But just to delve deeper into the platform and the features, what are some of the, I guess, your favorite features is, individually and collectively?
So personally, for me, one of our features is our auditorium, which is like a shared consciousness space where people kind of, you're on a page, you're watching content, whether that's a live stream or a video, and you feel like you are in the room with people because you can see all of their faces around, and you're able to react in real time and to chat and to feel like you're just part of this bigger crowd, and you can kind of like switch seats and go, oh, there's my friends over there, I'm going to go sit over there, without kind of this 3D world. It's very simple, and your brain fills in so many interesting gaps. Thomas, how about you? What's your favorite book?
Well, similar to, when you read a book, like Sophie said, your brain fills in gaps. When you play very early computer games, the graphics aren't necessarily, beautiful or perfect, but your brain fills in gaps and creates the rest of the experience for you. And similarly, our maps give a creative context to what happens so that people can feel like they are in a place. So I have to say our party map is the thing that's, made all this possible, where people can flow from space to space to space with them discovery and exploration and a sense of their own agency. So you're not stuck somewhere, you're not forced to be anywhere, but hopefully as you go on a journey, you discover things. Now, the second thing I really love is our co-creator tools and how easy they are to use. So for example, with Burning Man, we had hundreds of co-creators set up little spaces, link to and host mini events and put them into a shared schedule. And the beauty of this is you can get people with like shared motivation, shared inspiration to build things together that become a kind of a magical, complete world. So we're about to host a open source environmental conference in the style of COP26. We have over 20 participating organizations from different parts of the world. They're all hosting little workshops and sharing some of their best content. And it's come together very fast. And this is possible at all because of tools like this. And that excites me. And I see that as we proceed into the future, it's by harnessing that human motivation where people care about something enough to create something and making it easier, that will unlock the true power of the metaverse. We all spend our lives behind our screens. And in Sparkle, we like to recognize that through like little rituals, people can boost their own energy and feel more present. So one of the challenges is, Zoom fatigue or lack of engagement or people who aren't there. But the opposite of that is inspired people creating energizing spaces where people really focus. So our formula is also one of our best features because we have a whole load of creative angles on making online events work well.
And it's very fluid, like you touched on there, like it feels seamless moving from one space to the other. And because, touching back on the energy point, because people are creating their own spaces, I think it heightens the level of engagement throughout the platform, which we certainly found, and it's exciting. People want to touch, feel, be part of it. I think that's a really big feature. Now the industry's gone through what a turbulent period, positive for some, not so much for others, but we're starting to kind of eke out the other side of the pandemic now, and events are coming back in different ways, shapes and forms. Interested to know, and maybe Thomas, will start with you first, what excites you the most about the future of the events industry, and what does it look like to you?
So the pandemic forced most people to realize that it was as easy to connect to someone on the other side of the world as it is someone who lives on your road. And this makes society work in different ways. So I'm particularly excited about creative combinations of people and interest and context where social circles can widen, where I can experience a ventriloquist from Tibet. I mean, I've literally done that through our platform, and I can be delighted by connecting to people all around the world. Now, the second thing is that we're kind of on a cusp of technology evolving into another stage. So I think, certainly more than half the world has access to good broadband and decent computing, even if it's on a smartphone. And little by little, us humans are evolving ways to share content with other people. So it used to be I might write a book or record a video, but the next stage of that is I create a shared experience. So instead of inviting you over to dinner or coming over to your place and playing a tune, I can create a mini virtual experience to bring you through. And the artists like Sofi are the ones who have some of the coolest ideas, and art changes our perception. It opens our mind. So I'm really excited about how art can go through kind of shared renaissance where artistically created experiences can propagate to people on far corners of the globe. And that can literally jostle perceptions. It can open minds. It can profoundly inspire. And I really think the artistic dimensions of the metaverse are what excites me most, because that's where we'll find more love, we'll evolve our thinking, we'll change our thinking, and the best of new friendships will be formed.
Beautiful.
And to add to that, it's really curious to see like where our attentions and presence manifests in the internet going forward. Like we've discovered, like with these kind of meetings, we're super connected, we're super here. We're like, if I met you in person, Tom, I think you and I would have exactly the same experience as we have through a screen. And that's something we've noticed with our team when we've kind of met up from opposite sides of the earth. It's just like, oh, it's the same. Oh my gosh, yeah. The bonds that we form are not limited by technology anymore. And I'm really intrigued to see how we can start to sew those little areas together and to find like new spaces in order to bring that into fruition.
Yeah, and I think it has taken down the barriers of like when at the start of the pandemic, jumping on a Zoom or jumping on a Slack hangout or Teams or whatever, it's moved from being a necessity because we had to do it to just a part of everyday life, and you do feel more interconnected now than I think we've ever done before. And I'm interested to see how the sort of metaverse expands on that and really takes things to the next level. So conversation for another day, and I know something we could all get quite lost in. Moving back to some practicalities, and obviously I think virtual's definitely around to stay, and hybrid's going to be coming on over the next couple of months. There is a number of hybrid events already running. And Sophie, maybe we'll start with you. Let's focus on virtual. What are your top tips, or two if you've got them, for anyone planning a virtual event?
Yeah, so I would say it's all about world building. It's all about sculpting how your audience moves through your space and how they feel and what kind of emotional journey you take them on in the process, whether that's getting them to do certain tasks or to dress up or act a certain way, or whether it's just kind of contributing to some wider picture. So my suggestion would be find a theme, stick to it, become obsessive about that theme, find like any little morsel of something that you can get people to opt into it, and get everyone cheerleading for that in advance of the event itself, and to keep a mean spreadsheet and like stay organized, because it can be very overwhelming to just be like, all right, so at this time we've got to do this, and I've got that time. Don't worry, we'll it'll be all right overnight. But if there's like complete breakdowns of actions and changes that need to happen, or like surprises that you pull out for people, and it's all documented, then it's just, yeah, you can run a watertight ship.
100%, couldn't agree more. Both very, very useful, especially the spreadsheet in particular. I know we felt that at different times. Thomas, what about you?
So, there's hundreds of virtual event platforms out there, and many of them have similar features. And what they seem to be missing or not thinking about is the emotional component. So, for example, last year we hosted a very large number of online seasonal holiday parties. And we decided that to get people to these parties, we wanted them to show up in the right state of mind. So we brought them there via a virtual taxi driver who talked too much, who was one of the worst taxi drivers you could experience. And obviously this is like a silly construct, but it has a very powerful social effect. It warms people up, it puts them at their ease, it gives them a reason to feel present, and it makes it so they can like vibe off one another, supported by someone who's already on a vibe. Okay, so when they actually got to the virtual party, they felt different, and they were already like task switched in their mind to be more present. So I encourage you to think about the inner architecture of what happens inside each person as an event takes place, and marry that with easy to use, intuitive, intriguing technology, because that's what holds attention. And a lot of the world struggles to focus. We're online on virtual events, we're only over a click away from something else. But the best things happen when people are like motivated. If you can just warm them up enough, if you can bring them out of their shell and give them a reason to properly pay attention, they have a better time and they're receptive to the content as well. And that's where you get these like outlier great moments of consciousness that people remember and rave about and say, wow, I didn't know that was possible with virtual events. So some of the people who came to our online Burning Man said at moments it felt really like the burn itself. And obviously Burning Man is one of the most interesting, profound experiences you can have. So for me, that was very satisfying. And I'm hopeful that if it's possible to creatively achieve that magic online, I encourage any events organizer to really think in those terms. Try,
Yeah.
answer the question, how do you get people into amazing states of consciousness by coming to this event?
And I think not just the pandemic, and you touched on it briefly there, like getting people into these and getting companies to think about, how they're better run their events moving forward. We've come out the back of the pandemic, or, it's still lingering, but we feel closer. And then you add this sort of environmental impacts that are coming to fruition over COP as we speak. It's really important that organizations and people really consider how they run their events in the most effective manner, engage people in the best way, but also have one eye on, the carbon impact that their events are having. And I think that's where your platform really allows people to be immersed in something really quite different and feels really, truly unique versus other platforms. So last question, and I know you've both thought about this a lot. If your event platform was a well-known person or music artist, who would it be and why? Now, do you need some thinking time on this? Or have one of you got an answer?
I've got a good answer.
Thomas always has a great answer.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to go for Flash Gordon from the early 80s sci-fi film. Why is that? Because we transport people to a magical world that's like slightly out of this world, but emotionally rich. We often have great art, lots of color, lots of interesting content, and a story that weaves everything together. So, Flash obviously saved the Earth and went on a magic, amazing journey with great music by Queen. And I think that's the type of fun we strive to live up to.
Yeah. I wouldn't have even had a pop at that one. Sophie, do you agree, or is there anyone else you chuck in there?
I mean, I feel like our platform is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's ridiculous, yet strong and entertaining, and has great range. And you can put him anywhere. You'll still know it's an Arnie thing, but wherever it goes, he makes it like
strong and robust. I guess you can say that after running a big Burning Man session on there for sure. So you've gone for the duo there, and we've got Flash Gordon and we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that's how we'll wrap things up on today's session. But I kind of thank you both enough for joining me today. It's a real pleasure, and I know you are always incredibly busy, so thanks for taking the time out to speak to us, and hopefully looking forward to working together in the not too distant future. So thanks again for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom.